9:30 a.m. on this Saturday morning, May 16th, 2026. These are our conditions currently. You still see that, well, the sun back here. Got a lot of these tree blossoms that are falling. Usually every year, once these get to a certain point, we end up having rain and wind that wipes these right out. This year they actually seem to be drying and dying right on the branches, but we've got quite a few of these petals that are actually floating on the air currents this morning. Just an observation. But I want you to look at these guys. Specifically this right here. Amongst all the cloudiness, we have this trail. And what do they claim these are? Water vapor. What are clouds? Condensed masses of water, or water vapor, right? When you get too much saturation of a cloud to where it becomes super saturated, then you have to have a release, a fallout, precipitation, water. Been doing some deep thinking this morning, and in collaboration with my Thoughts Pondered, I am going to include a link in the description pertaining to, are they aliens or hackers? I just watched this gentleman's presentation over his thoughts pertaining to a statement made by Anna Paulina Luna after a SCIF meeting that she was in, and where, she's not talking extraterrestrials, but rather interdimensional, non-human entities, basically, if you will. And then after my recent so-called UFO recording and capture from the 11th, May 11th, just a few days back, and seeing this pop in the sky, and seeing what appeared like a projection of a dragon, which, for me, that was a sign that I was supposed to see that. It was made for me because of the influence of that dragon symbolism and how it has affected my life, and where dragons have always been a part of my life. And that's why I use the dragon icon or profile picture, not on just this channel, but my past secondary channel, Dragonfire Investigative Research. Before I had plans on moving out of my apartment, approximately 4 years ago now, and I started packing up my belongings, including all of my decor from the walls, my paintings and pictures and posters and stuff like that, a lot of dragons and wizards, a lot of figurines of dragons, dragon-style jewelry, and so on and so forth. And so seeing this dragon cloud, which to me now appears as though it was a projection onto water vapor from something that was in the sky. And of course that pop, that when I focused in on that pop, took a screenshot of it, and it appeared as though it was a jewel. And then to hear about such things as stargates, and then, okay, and which, you know, you travel from one destination to another, or whatever, from one location to a destination, okay. So you got these wormholes and stargates, and then you have this 10-season long series known as Stargate SG-1, and of course the Stargate that they use when they hit that switch and it pops on, there is like a watery surface of which they enter. The human travelers will cross through this watery surface into this wormhole that will transport them to their desired destination. Water. So we have all these UFOs that actually are called USOs, underwater submersible objects. Well, now they've got a new terminology for that, of course, just like going from UFO to UAPs. You know, they're changing definitions, in which this gentleman within this video that I am suggesting to watch, he makes mention likewise of the same things. But this is where I started connecting the dots. Because they call this the blue marble planet for a reason, because of all the water. And of course, our so-called firmament, the atmosphere, is primarily made up of layers of what? Moisture. Water. Water is in the air. And I've spoken on this quite a few times in the past, pertaining that, well, you know what? We're not just breathing oxygen, we are also breathing water. So, you know, we're sort of somewhat amphibious when you really think about it. And of course, once again, the atmosphere being full of water, and of course they continue to add water to our atmosphere. Through all these condensation trails, right? Are you starting to see a picture yet? Well, let me show you a picture. Well, before I even show you a picture, let's go into a description of a droplet of rain. A droplet, a sphere of water, basically, right? Science dictates that just like every flake of snow, every drop of water has dirt, a component of dirt, a fragment of dirt or dust within it. Now think about the earth, if it is indeed a spherical object and it is surrounded by water, but it has what? A dirt center. We are nothing more than a giant drop of water. Okay, so keeping that thought, so we have, let's just suppose, a lot of drops of water out there, but we need these gates to go from one drop to another. And these gates have to pop open between dimensions, such as like what my video showed. Hmm. Water seems to be a major component in many factors surrounding the UFO anomaly or scenario. Water seems to be a main component to traveling. So, when they say space ships or vessels, crafts, it all relates to water, does it not? Water, water, water seems to be the main component and main connection that should be examined and studied just a little bit further. Don't you think? Once again, you look at this illustration here. See all the wormholes? Now this book, UFOs, we have 1979. Oh, by the way, don't these sort of look like creatures that would reside in water? Frogmen, if you will. The Greys. Oh, and you know, they're still trying to figure out, well, are aliens real? Oh, is everybody forgetting about Peru and the tridactyl mummies? And the many variations and forms of those tridactyls? But are they just alien looking to us? Now think about this as well. And this is going to be my last little talking point. So what are we actually? Are we really flesh, bone, and blood? Are we spirits trapped within? If we're spirits, then we would be dimensional beings, forms of energy, right? And energy cannot be transferred nor destroyed. Or not transferred, I can't remember exactly how the phrase goes. I'm having a rough morning this morning. Not only were my sinuses quite congested, but my brain has been quite cloudy as well. Ever since waking up, I just cannot seem to get a clear mind for whatever reason. But anyways, so spirits, energy. Water is a conductor of energy, of electricity, especially saline water. We have a lot of salt in our bodies. We sweat salt water. And they try to force us into drinking salt water through like Powerade and Gatorade products, and you know. Oh, but you're not supposed to drink salt water because it's bad for you. Okay. So anyways, so we're spirit forms, interdimensional beings, if you will. So from wherever we originated from, we come here and we are born within these skin suits. Now here's the kicker. A lot of people like to say, oh, well, when I die, I'm going up there. I'm going to the heavens up there. Well, okay. Well, if you believe that, but you also believe that you're a spiritual being, maybe you came from up there and came down to earth. And what does the Bible have to say about beings that come from up here and down to earth? Fallen angels. So as being spiritual entities that we are basically put into an organic vessel, we are all in fact fallen angels. Think about that one. Yeah. Okay? And the thing is, when you go into the examination of many cultures and their religions or their beliefs, their legends and stories and folklores, these crafts, these gods, goddesses, well, it always tends to come to this right here, such as in the Lewis and Clark expedition, of which the Indians claimed to Lewis and Clark. The Indians came out and sat by me and smoked. They said, we come from the clouds, etc., and etc., and we're not men, etc., etc. Always revolves around the clouds. And what are clouds? Water. And we are energy. We see these crafts that glow. And of course I got this pop in the sky amongst all this water. Energy and water. And we are energy. And we live in a drop of water. Those are my observations, and that's my story for this Saturday, May 16th, 2026. Skywise out.